I am going to be showing you this really fun and cool technique using your Xyron. You can use any Xyron to do this technique, but today I'm going to be using the 3-inch disposable Xyron. And the stamp set that I'm going to be using today is by Stampers Anonymous, the Tim Holtz collection, and it's called Festive Overlay. And you can see all the beautiful detailed stamps in the set. I'm also going to be using the stitched circle die, and they look just like this. I've already stamped and colored out some of my images here, and using those circle dies, I just use those to cut these out. And I'll show you these in better detail, what they look like. And this is the little bird that I colored. I love using Xyron adhesive because I don't always like using glue for my projects. So I'm going to show you a very fun and cool way to dazzle up your cards using your Xyron. First of all, we're going to take each of our stamped images, and instead of running it through like a sticker, we're going to run it through upside down. And just pull it through, and you can see that it's upside down. And just as we're getting this one through, we want to put our next one through so we can avoid any kind of waste with the machine. And you're going to continue that with the other two. And when we reach the end of it, you're just going to cut it off with scissors. But make sure you use your scissors and don't cut it off with this, because if you do, you're going to use way more adhesive and it's not going to cut perfectly. If you hear any background noises that are really weird and you're wondering what those are, I have 3 kittens in my craft room right now, and I have a spayed mama cat that I am babying and taking care of. What you're going to do is you're going to flip these around, and as you can see, we've got all of these. Now if you don't pay attention, like I wasn't paying attention, you will have a gap. So to minimize the waste, you want them as close together as possible. But then just take any kind of burnisher that you have and just burnish the backs of these, because we want the adhesive to stick really well to our image. Just pull off this backing. This is my favorite glitter to use because it's unlike other glitters that just want to stick to your fingers and hands and everywhere. Just dust some of this glitter inside of this pan. I think I'm going to just use the bird first and just peel it from the backing. We're going to place it down into the glitter and just move it all around in the glitter and just smash it in. For me, this is just such a simpler way than using glue. So just dust it off and kind of put your fingers on it, and if you can feel any sticky through here, just put it back down into the glitter and press it in, because you really want that glitter to adhere to that adhesive. I have a light film of glitter on my hands. And it's definitely, in my opinion, not as dusty and messy as the other glitters that I've used. I'm going to be using the chipped Sapphire Distress ink. And what you're going to do is just dab around the edge. I always love to add that little bit of Distress ink along the edging just to give it that pop and wow factor, because with this method right here, you're gonna still see that glitter and shine, and it's not making a huge mess. Like, it's not really getting on the brush at all, and even if it does, just a little bit of a wipe and it falls right off. Look how gorgeous and beautiful that is. So the glitter is just on here flat. Now I'm going to move on to the next technique. Now I've got the deer, and I'm going to do the same thing with the glitter. Just pounce it in the glitter and cover it really well. Once I have the glitter on him, I am going to be going in around with the Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo and just dab around your image. You can see like that beautiful stitched edging right there comes out so beautiful on these. That's why I love those die sets. The next product that I'm going to be using is Glossy Accents, because it always clogs in this one, so I always transport my adhesive over into these little bottles and they don't clog. So just take your Glossy Accent and then just go over the whole thing. You could totally leave it just as is with the different variations in the glue going across at that point if you want. It gives a very cool effect, but for today's purpose of this technique, I'm going to be laying this down and brushing it out just with a regular paintbrush. And now after you get done brushing this out and just giving a light, even coat to the whole image, you're gonna wanna let this dry, but immediately go wash out your paintbrush so that it doesn't harden in the brush. Once this dries, it dries to a beautiful shine and shimmer with all that glitter, and it's just beautiful for the front of your card. It just gives a totally different look. Who is that? So if you hear anything in the background making a lot of noise, this is my new little kitten Butters, and he's being kind of rowdy right now, so if you hear him, that's what you're hearing. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel these two off and do them at the same time. Both of these are gonna be pressed into the Distress glitter. So for one, I'm going to be using Fired Brick and the other Mowed Lawn. So for this sentiment right here, I'm going to be using Distress Collage medium. Every different medium that we use is going to help lock in that glitter, but it's also going to create a totally different look. Now, unfortunately, there was a stranger come up on my property a little bit ago when I was doing this, and remember how I told you to make sure you wash out your paint brushes? Well, this is completely stiff now, but I'm going to use it anyway. I didn't get the chance to wash out my brush because I was scared to death. I did not know who was on my property. Still don't know. But just gently take the collage medium, and what I should have done was I'm just going to scoop out some of this because I don't want to contaminate my collage medium. I'm still frazzled because I don't know who was on my property. But just take your collage medium and just put a thin layer across the top of your sentiment. I'm going to set this off to dry, and we're going to be left with a beautiful frosted look. I am bringing in Distress Resist Spray, and it seems like this always clogs, so what I'm going to do, let me shake it up a little bit, I'm just going to open it up and take that out and just pour just a tiny amount of the Resist Spray into the lid. I'm going to go in with a paintbrush and just paint it on since I can't use my sprayer. It just seems to clog quite a bit, so no worries. Just use it as paint if that happens to you. We'll set that down and let it dry. Now I have one more sentiment that I created so that I can show you one more way to do this. There is a product called Micro Glaze, and it's also a Tim Holtz product. And this stuff is really cool because it's almost Vic Sav looking. It's a really different product, but the one thing that I love to use this for, I'm going to show you right now. Every single image that I stamped or sentiment that's stamped, I used this ink today. It's the Gina K Designs Amalgam ink, and it's in the color Obsidian, and I love this because it doesn't seem to fade or run or anything like that. You can color on it and the images stay absolutely perfect. I'm just going to dab my finger lightly into the micro glaze, and you can see I just have a little bit on my finger. To make the wording darker, we're going to brighten it up. Like, look at that. Like, can you even see that? Look at how much darker this is than over here. And I'll show you. I'll try to hold this up so you can really see this. It's like magic. But just, we're going right over the lettering. We just want to do the lettering. Look how bright that brings out those colors. So we just want to put that microglaze nowhere else but just over the letters, all the wording, and it's just going to make that pop. And the rest of this little trick that I'm about to show you is just going to blow your mind because I love this technique, and that's why I saved it for last. We just have it on the lettering, and look how much brighter every single word is on that sentiment tag. I'm going to bring back in our Xyron, and we're going to run it upside down through our machine. Now turn this over, grab your burnisher again, and burnish it really, really well. This right here is going to be the amazing part. I'm going to peel this off and then pull this away. I don't even know if this shows up well on camera, but you can see everywhere that the microglaze is, it doesn't have the sticky stuff on it. Now I think it came up a little bit right here on the Y, but that is totally fine. It's from where I pulled it and the glue just caught and drug it over onto the Y. But everywhere that that microglaze was, the adhesive is still stuck to the backing right here, if you can see that. We're going to take our sentiment and we're going to dip it in the glitter. Because we put that microglaze on there, the Xyron adhesive will not stick to it, and it will only stick to the edges where there is no microglaze. So for this tag right here, I went through with the microglaze, and then the Xyron adhesive just hit and touched these edges, and then I just kissed it with a little bit of picket fence ink on top of that, and it gives you this kind of like snowy effect on the edges. It's really glittery and pretty, and I love it. So I've just showed you 5 different ways to use your Xyron and different supplies to create the most stunning embellishments and sentiments for your cards, tags, scrapbooking, whatever you want to use this for. But I thought with Christmas and July coming up very soon, these are just so gorgeous, and a way that you can add some stunning details to those Christmas cards that you're going to be making, or any other occasion cards. And just look at that frosted effect on this one, and I love that you absolutely don't have to put it all over your sentiment. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like and leave me a comment below. Hit that subscribe button so you'll always be notified of my new content. I will catch you in the next video.